Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. How are you doing? I welcome you to English grade 6. Students, today we are going to talk about writing poems. This is a lecture of writing competency and we are going to talk about writing describing poems. So I hope that you have read this lesson, Hiking, which is a poem itself, and you have noticed that how a poem is written. Our learning outcome says write a poem describing objects or places. So it means that describing poems or descriptive poems are written on objects and places mostly. So we need to achieve this learning outcome today. Here is your vertical linkage in the previous grade where we talked about writing haiku poems, which is a Japanese style of writing poetry. Now, let's brainstorm. Have you ever noticed that poems are actually written in different ways, different styles and different manners? Some poems are written like a couplet, some are written with different stanzas, some poems have so many short lines and some poems are very much in detail and in description. So, can you name all or some of these different kinds of poems that we have learned previously? Good. Now, after this brainstorming session, students, let's talk about what is a poem. Let's understand the definition of a poem and we can then write our own and we can write a successful describing poem. A poem is a form of writing that expresses emotions. Means that poems are full of emotions of the poet about anything, any place, any object or any person. It is also full of ideas or stories in a creative way, often using rhythm, rhyme and vivid language. Now all the rhyme schemes, different rhyming words and a certain way of writing a poem using different words, all of these are part of a poem. Now, students, there are different types of poems that we have. We have narrative, descriptive, lyrical, etc. All these different poems. In narrative poems, we tell a story. In descriptive poems or describing poems, we describe something in detail. It may be a scene, it may be anything about nature, any object, etc. And in lyrical poems, they are actually meant to be sing and they are sang like that. So all these different genres of poems are available and today we will talk about describing poems. So a poem is full of emotions. A poem has different verses or lines. It is divided into different stanzas. A poem is read in a very interesting way with intonation, and a poem is also conveying so many different ideas to the reader as well. Now, what is a descriptive poem? A descriptive poem uses vivid language, means clear language that can evoke a picture and it can create an image or picture in your mind to describe objects, people or places. Now, we need details and description of anything to create a descriptive poem. How can we write a descriptive poem? First, we have to choose a topic. It can be an object, a place or a person. Then we use our senses. Think about how that thing, object or place looks. Sounds that we hear, feels, smells and taste. So all these different senses will be incorporated in our descriptive poem. We have to trigger the sense of seeing, sense of hearing, sense of feeling something, smelling and also tasting. So you can describe using your vivid language and words and you can describe all these senses. Then we will use descriptive language, language that will give you detail like we will use adjectives to describe our nouns and our pronouns or any other subject. Adjectives will be used and creative phrases will also be used. Now, you need to follow all these steps to create a successful descriptive poem. First, choose a topic, then you have to use your senses and use descriptive language with clear imagery so that the reader can actually feel like he or she was there with you at that point of time. Now, here is an exemplary poem, The Winter Day. Let's see the cozy winter day. Let's see if it has a detail. The snowflakes dance in the chilly air. A blanket of white spreads everywhere. The fireplace crackles, warm and bright, filling the room with a soft, glowing light. Hot cocoa steams in a favorite mug as I curl up cozy, wrapped in a rug. The world outside is cold and gray, but inside it's a perfect winter day. So what are we describing, dear students? The writer, the poet described a season, the season of winter, and in that he explained a cozy winter day. The snowflakes dance in the chilly air. This is where we used personification, we used figurative language and vivid language. Chilly is actually our adjective. So we used adjectives. A blanket of white spreads everywhere. White is an adjective. The fireplace crackles warm and bright. Crackle is onomatopoeia. Filling the room with a soft, glowing light, hot cocoa steams in a favorite mug. As I curl up cozy, wrapped in a rug, the world outside is cold and gray, but inside it's a perfect winter day. So you can also follow the rhyme scheme. Chilly air, everywhere, bright, light, mug, rug, gray, and day. So you can see there is a rhythm in the poem. There is a lot of details with examples of adjectives. We have seen there is onomatopoeia used and there are different, all these descriptive language makes up a descriptive poem and describing poem. The poet described a perfect cozy winter day. Now, students, you have to do this classroom activity where you have to write a poem about a place or any object. It can be your favorite destination spot, it can be your favorite gadget, your device, or anything that you have. The poem should be descriptive. It means you have to describe it in detail. Use adjectives and use different details. You may use all kinds of adjectives. Brainstorm first and then write a poem. First, brainstorm according to the steps that we followed. Choose your topic, then include your senses, and then start writing your poem. All right. Here goes your simulation link that you can watch to understand more about descriptive poems. And this is your worksheet where you are given instructions and you have to actually write different poems. Now, for the homework, you have to write a descriptive poem on any topic of your choice. You can write about a place, you can write about your favorite person, etc. Now, here are all the resources that are included and they can be found in the description of the video. So practice a lot. Do not hesitate to write it down, students, and you can create successful descriptive or describing poems. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you in the next video lesson. Allah Hafiz.